Hi everyone, welcome back to the Local Loop, and today I'm so pleased to bring to you Lance Dorfi, the radon specialist, and today we're going to talk about that 5-letter word, radon, that tends to scare a lot of people. So thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So Lance, tell us, what is radon?
Well, radon is a naturally occurring gas that comes up from the ground into the basement or the first floor of the house. It is odorless, colorless, and tasteless. So the only way you know if you have a radon problem is you do a radon test.
Right. So we always, when a buyer falls in love with a house, one of the things that we always do is a radon test, right? And there's different types of tests, right? There's one that's like a 24-hour thing, and
yep, generally is for real estate transactions, a short-term test, which is 2 to 7 days, and there's long-term, which is 90 days or more. But real estate transactions, short-term is more convenient, and the test should be performed by a professional as well as a certified lab. There's EPA action level, so once the radon test is performed and the levels come back above 4, that's an EPA action level, and they recommend this on the system.
Got it. And tell us why radon is bad.
Well, if you're inhaling radon gas for long term, it can increase your chances of developing lung cancer. It also has been new research now, it can develop skin cancer as well.
Oh, wow.
Which we've been studies in Europe.
Okay.
So that's kind of new. And also, if there's kids that are exposed to radon at a young age because their lungs are still developing, that can not be good for them, in the long run.
So, a few questions, because I've brought you guys in when we've had levels of like 25, and people freak out because that's way above the threshold of 4. And, I find that when houses are tighter with the new insulation, does that have anything to do with it?
Yeah, radon has no way to escape the house.
Got it.
It's kind of trapped in. And radon does have a short half-life, 4 days. So it does decay after 4 days. It breaks down to these radon decay products, which is actually harmful to us. Not radon itself, is the radon decay products. But when a house is sealed up tight, generally it just kind of stays.
Has nowhere to
go. We see that a lot when the house,
like a new construction,
new renovation, spray foam insulating the house really tight, the levels could typically increase. So it's always good to test going through that process.
Got it. And is it always in the basement, or
it could be on a slab on grade, as I mentioned before. So even if there's no basement or is a crawl space under the first floor, it should be tested in the lowest livable level of the home, even though basements have high readings.
Okay, so let's talk about once you find out, you fall in love with this house, and then it's like, the 5-letter word, radon, is really high. Then you come in and tell us what you do. And it's always fixable, right?
It's always, there's always a solution for it. These systems generally cost around $1,200 to $1,800 for the most part, sometimes a couple of $1,000.
Right, so it's never a deal breaker. No, it's good to know.
But once the system's installed, we generally drop the levels at least 90% or below 2, 90% of the time. We like to get those levels close to national average, which is 1.3. So generally we do that with the system installed. And it's pretty easy for the most part. We install a system called sub-slab depressurization. And basically there's a 4-inch PVC pipe that's drilled right through the floor of the basement or the first floor. And then it's connected to a radon fan outside of the house or in the attic. And it creates negative pressure on the floor like a vacuum. So it sucks the radon gases out from under the foundation.
It goes all the way
and vents it outside above the roof of the house. So a lot of people have a question of how the system looks on the outside. They're concerned about the aesthetics. So in some cases we can install, we go PVC as an option, which will stick out a little bit more than other piping. The other option is like a downspout leader pipe, or we can go copper in some cases. We try to blend in, make it look neat as possible when we're outside of the house.
So I know I also brought you in where some people have had a system and they weren't happy with the levels because they wanted even lower. And you've put in like an auxiliary system, right?
If levels don't drop as low as we like, there are options. We could go with like a bigger fan, or sometimes we go add more piping in the basement. But we perform a diagnostic test before the system's installed. So we have an idea how well the system will work before we leave the job.
Got it.
What the levels will drop to. But yeah, there are options to increase the fan's performance.
So, I personally think it's a good thing for people to test on a regular basis, because we have a radon mitigation system in my house, and the fan actually broke. And my husband had one of those little things, and, we saw it. The levels were going up. And I was like, what's going on? And then sure enough, it was the fan that broke.
Yes, these fans do last about 10 to 12 years on average, sometimes less, sometimes more. It's always good to do radon testing. We recommend once every 2 years, 2-3 years at least. And there's a 5-year warranty for most of these fans. So we recommend a service once every 5 years just to check up on everything. There's a YouTube gauge manometer that's installed on the pipe, which you've seen.
Right.
Which will tell you that the system system's working.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like a false lead because we don't know what your levels are. We just
Right.
know the fan's working. But generally speaking, when the system's working, your levels should remain low. But it's always good to do some testing once every year or two.
I see, because you're saying maybe the fan isn't sucking up, or maybe it's not as effective as it should be.
Maybe it's not as effective as it should be, yes. And things can change around the foundation of the house, settling, or renovation nearby, or excavating. Right. Even with the system installed, I've seen some cases where levels will drop, will increase. That's why it's good to test. Final question, is this something that's geographic? Because I feel like I speak to other realtors around the country and they're like, radon, like they don't even... Well, it's natural occurring everywhere, but there are locations, especially in this area, with higher readings than other locations. Got it. A lot of it, formation of rock in the soil, uranium, which is everywhere. But yeah, it's in Fairfield County, Westchester County, a lot of activity. So I would say 1 out of 3 homes have high readings. Wow. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, thank you for answering all these questions. And we'll see you next time on The Local Loop.